Alright, so I'm technically starting Summerween a day early. It technically starts tomorrow on the 5th, but coincidentally I got today off. I normally work today as well. I'm going to be reading Jack Ketchum's book that's been on my physical TBR for over a year. It has the sky in the cover, and it is off season. But before I go, I'm taking advantage of the day off and getting my hair done. So check in when I start this book. Alright, I'm back, got some highlights, and now we're going to read. Alright, so I don't think I gave a synopsis of what this book even is. It's, as far as I'm aware, it's cannibals. So a group of friends are at a cabin and one gets taken by cannibals. I think the others go rescue them or survive. That's kind of the vibe I was given when I first heard of this book. I am currently 100 pages in, so no spoilers past this point. And quite honestly, not much has happened. I like the introduction. We start with a woman who quite literally is fleeing from children, like small children, a couple teenagers, but mostly kids, to the point that she has to jump off a cliff to get away from them and just into the water, taking her chances with the water compared to these crazy kids. So my assumption is going to be that it's going to be a community of cannibals, maybe kidnap victims, not really sure. It's just a lot more than I expected. We also have a town sheriff, which if I had bothered to read the back before starting this, I would have known that they were involved. My only complaint right now is that this book feels more sleazy than the previous two Jack Ketchum books that I have read. Was it called The Girl Next Door? Yeah, The Girl Next Door and Stranglehold are the other two by him that I read. And there was very clearly a message being told, whether it be accountability, manipulation, power dynamics in the Girl Next Door, or just don't trust the fucking court system, to abuse all of the trauma in Stranglehold. There was something besides the brutality. This, I got a feeling, this is Jack Ketchum's first book, I'm pretty sure, by the way. I'm getting the vibes of this is just going to be slaughter and brutal without the bare minimum of message or reason for it being written. But what can you do? I'm going to give it a go. I expected this to take like 3 days for me to get through and read. I don't know why, hence why I started early on my day off. I just binged it all in one singular sitting. Words cannot describe. So the entire first, like basically all of it, quite honestly, I'm like, okay, this is going to be like a 2-3 star read. It's cannibals are attacking, a group of lone survivors in an isolated cabin are like boarding off the walls, trying to barricade themselves in to survive this. Just survival horror. There's a lot of body horror. I didn't find it, honestly, all that extreme. Maybe it's extreme for the 80s, but, like, I didn't care about the characters, so nothing was really shocking and disturbing. A lot of body horror. Animal cruelty. They hurt a dog. Be warned. That hurt me. That really hurt me. But the brutality that was inflicted on the human characters, you're just fodder. You are written to die. You have no real depth to you. There's a little bit. Enough is done. The bare minimum. Whatever. So we get to the very end, spoiler free here, and you just go to such a psychologically dark place that I am sorry. I am so sorry, Mr. Ketchum, that I, for even a second, even though this is like your first book, ever thought that you did not have a purpose for why you were writing this, the emotion you wanted to convey. I should have trusted you from the beginning. That's on me. This, if it's not 5 star, it's 4 star. For 2 lines that happen near the very end of this book. 270 pages, fast-paced, especially once the action starts. There's no easy stop point. I couldn't really stop this if I wanted to. Where was I supposed to stop? It was breakneck pace. The tension builds. The main thing that I took away from this was a response to trauma, how people respond to it, and how quickly things can spiral out of control when you give in to that fear and you lose sight of everything else. I love Jack Ketchum. Not my favorite by him, no, by no means. It's my least favorite by him that I've read, just because the message didn't come as strongly as it did until the very end. I seen what was there, but I'm like, I'm justifying this book's existence. It's not actually trying to commentate on that. Yeah, it was. That was intentional. I should have known. I will never not trust this man again. The rest of my day off was spent mostly cleaning, and not gonna lie, Roomba does a lot of the work. But listening to audiobooks, specifically one that's been hyped up a lot, When the Wolf Comes Home. More on that in a moment. Alright, so I thought I would meet the prompt of read a book in the dark by last night going out on the deck and just reading the ebook for the one where if a lady bleeds, the blood turns into a clone and tries to kill her or something like that. Molly Southbourne? Not sure. I was going to read that, but apparently had a different idea because I laid down for like a second. I was just closing my eyes listening to a YouTube video as I was cleaning up the yada yada. I took a little break. That was about 5-6 o'clock-ish. And then I woke up at, well, okay, technically I woke up at 8 o'clock. But then I'm like, I lied down again, and the next time I woke up, it was 12 o'clock, so it was bedtime. And I'm just like, apparently I needed a good long nap. So I can't read the book on the deck because I'm going to be up to my cousin's today, but I have been listening to an audiobook, and that is When the Wolf Comes Home, and I am really enjoying it. I don't think it's going to be a new all-time favorite, but it's pretty close. A girl goes home early for work. I won't say why, and as she is getting ready to take care of some things, she finds a little boy hunched out in the garden being attacked by these strange birds. And she goes and rescues him, and just thinking, lost child, maybe I'll call the cops, I'll figure something out. But he's run away from his father, and then his father shows up, and this is around the same time as her own father has since passed, and they have a complicated history. This is definitely family-oriented, and it goes bloody really quickly. I would prefer to go in knowing nothing about it, but you get the vibe from When the Wolf Comes Home. This is strictly a horror book. There's supernatural elements. There's an element that I absolutely adore. I was completely hooked with a Who Framed Roger Rabbit huge reference, like watching the movie and then some other stuff happens, and I'm obsessed right now. What I love most is the main character, whose name is Jessa, not Jessica, like me, but she has a wonderful relationship with her mother. She has what she calls an inner and outer Jess. I have a past Jessica and future Jessica. I connected very much to that right away. But she is very much rambly, flying off the seat of her pants with everything that's happening, just trying to keep this kid alive. But her acting and improv comes in handy with it in her own career. I'm really, really liking this one, so I'm about halfway through. I will check in when I finish. This is me finally starting The Murders of Molly Southbourne. Of course, it had to rain last night, and the chair didn't dry, so I had to put a towel down. I was actually really, really liking the idea of reading outside and didn't know why I hadn't done it sooner. Then, of course, immediately I remembered, oh yeah, there's bugs outside, so I had to relocate back to my library because I'm an indoor person and I like reading in my library, not outside. Alright, I'm not sure if this really counts as reading in the dark, but it's dim. I would have used a candle, but no chance I'm trusting a candle around the cat. Look away for a second, it's on the floor, carpet's in flames, and I like my library. I took out all the lights in my lamp except one, but if I have none, you can't see me. So, The Murders of Molly Southbourne is going surprisingly well. I'm already halfway through, and I'm absolutely adoring it. Premise is very simple. Every time this girl bleeds, the blood congeals, makes a void hole in the ground, and it sucks in everything around it, making a hole, and then a new Molly is slowly formed, just like the Molly in the current day. So, children Molly from the child. I'm assuming more adult Mollies as an adult, or do they all start small? Could be either. And then within a maximum of okay, not necessarily a maximum, but normally within 3 days they go bad, but sometimes they go bad within hours and try to kill her. So her parents have been training her for years, her entire life, on how to fight, how to survive, run if she has to. She's trained to shoot, to kill. They're very, very strict on this. In her childhood, it's mostly the parents killing the other Mollies. as she grows up, she gets more rebellious. She wants to sneak into town, but no, it's dangerous. You have to stay here. She gets a boyfriend in her teenage. You know how, like, some people say teenagers are psychopaths? Yeah, Molly purposely creates other Mollys just to kill them. She's also asking them questions. Why do you hate me? What do you remember? Do you love me? Like, why are you here? And it's an interesting look at the psyche of a child throughout time, and just if she was raised, because she is raised in just total isolation, how that would translate to a teenager, young adult. I'm at the point right now where she goes to college. I think the most interesting thing that happened that I like was at one point she thought her own parents had the same condition and had been replaced by doppelgangers, and it's like, where are my parents? As she stabs her father. I'm giving maybe a few more details than it needs to be. So we'll stop here because that's the halfway point. She's now in college. I'm not going to give any more details going forward. I'm really, really enjoying this one. But it's getting a little late, and the reason I don't read in the dark is because I get tired. So, bedtime. Alright, so I had originally planned to read Tomoe for Summerween, and I kind of regret that I didn't get the chance to do it as well, but I was so close to finishing BERSERK that I had no choice. I had to finish BERSERK, and I am now caught up with everything that's been released in the deluxe volume sets. There are a couple loose chapters that I need to get to, but oh my god, this ended in such a wonderful place. Mura left it, God rest his soul, this series, in a place of hope and fear, and a beautiful message, and that's all I can say there. I love BERSERK. For sure, lives up to the hype in terms of violence, assault, graphic depictions of all kinds of terrible, brutal, horrible things. Yes, the assault could be, it's a little bit more backgrounds and unnecessary, quite honestly, a lot of the times. Like, does he really need to show that? But the exploration on grief, on trauma, how you move past it, how you have to put yourself back together from it. Guts is a phenomenal character, and to show how his hard exterior hides the damage that he has and what he is willing to do to himself for revenge, and then for his loved ones, first to harm, then to protect. I absolutely adore BERSERK and all its messages. The characters, the growth that go on, the story, the world that we're in, the villains. I have never had villains affect me as much as well, okay, anime does have a lot of great villains, but Griffith, the Bands of the Hawk, and other characters in this are phenomenal and so good. This is a tragedy. This is a fairy tale. This is dark. This is full of hope and light. It's beautiful. I love BERSERK. I'm so happy to be this caught up in it. Alright, I'm going to finish off the Molly Southbourne Death's book, whose name I totally know, because I tried to read it last night, and my bad, just fell asleep instead. Not because the book is bad, but because I was waiting till nighttime to read in the dark. I can't read in the dark. I get sleepy. Alright, new location. Let's see how filming outside goes if I can avoid being heard by my neighbors. But I finished The Murders of Molly Southbourne. Overall, really enjoyed it. 4 stars. Not sure what I was really expecting. I do like the idea. I don't know if I want to call them vignettes, but the story's told by little segments of Molly's life, different stages showing who she is, how she became, how she was trained to be what she is. The idea and premise is really cool, with the blood turning into other Mollys that are trying to kill her. Do we get many answers? No, we get a little bit to explain why this is happening. Not so much the psychology of the Mollys, but I'm intrigued enough to continue on. There's another 2 books in this series. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but also this one didn't really feel like it had a satisfying conclusion. It almost feels like the prequel to the next book. But I did enjoy it, and I'm happy I read it. I see why other people like it. The premise was more interesting than the execution, in my opinion, mostly because she was a little too clinical. She was raised to be a survivor, and that's not, like, emotionally a great character to get attached to. A little too clinical for me, but interesting. I have also been reading When the Wolf Comes Home, and I'm really enjoying that. The look at trauma, specifically generational trauma, families and fathers and stuff like that. So just going to finish off like the last itty-bitty little section of that while getting some work done around the house. I have the audiobook, so that's what I'm going to do now. Making waffles while listening to an audiobook is a day well spent. Alright, and for When the Wolf Comes Home. I think this definitely lived up to the hype of it because it's a very popular horror book right now. Not a personal favorite of mine, but 4 stars. But the thing is, I don't know why it's not 5. The pacing was good. It was very fast-paced. Action may be a little repetitive as the main character Jessa is taking Kid. We just call him Kidda. Like, we don't learn his name till the very end. So I'm like, I love that. It's one less name I gotta remember. She's similar to me in terms of she has an internal voice inside her head that is full of anxiety and worst-case scenario spiraling. They're running from, they get to point A, point B, keep going. There's someone chasing them the other time, whether it's the wolf or something else. We have a wacky left turn crazy twist of basically making this a cartoon in a sense, and I was all for that. I love a ridiculous premise. They commit to the premise. It makes sense for the world, the actions that are taken, what's happening. It has two heartbreaking moments. It has good descriptions of horror and gore. It's bloody. It's commentary on family dynamics, generational trauma, fear, adult and childhood fear. I wish I knew why this isn't like an all-time favorite. Not just 5 stars, but why it's not an all-time favorite. I don't want to say it was the ending, because I feel like it had a solid ending, but maybe a little wishy-washy at the end. Not sure if it's a realistic response to it. Maybe, yeah, it is. I don't know. Not 100% for me. I can't put my finger on why. Characters are phenomenal. Pacing is good. Action and horror, well done. Great message. Recommend. One little trope that some people might not like, but I feel like that's too close of a spoiler. Definitely recommend this one. Alright, in conclusion, Summerween is over. I had a phenomenal time. I'm really surprised how much I love Jack Ketchum's off-season. Again, traditional slasher B-horror movie vibes, but then a traumatic ending with a message and emotion that he wanted you to feel, and he just nails it. That I gotta say I loved it. I was really impressed by that one. Clearly, I love BERSERK, so that wasn't mostly for Summerween. I just needed to finish it, and it fell during Summerween. I'm happy I finally read Murs Molly Southbourne. I would not have read this at this point in time if it wasn't for this, so it's been on my TBR forever, and I'm very happy I read it. And now that I finished one of my more popular books that I'm happy I got to, When the Wolf Comes Home, I still don't know why I don't love that one. I really should love it. But I'm calling this a success. I will talk to you later. Bye.